Beep boop. It is time for new podcast. Wake up, Mr. Ben. Wake up, Mr. Phil.
I mean, I'm not asleep, am I? I'm here. Why have we still got this robot? It adds nothing to proceedings.
I know, but you know, it's charm. Somewhat for young'uns, and it is tax deductible, which is
right
more important.
Okay, but just to be clear, because you hate Metal Mickey, and this thing is basically just Metal Mickey. This is
yeah. But the difference between Metal Mickey and this is I don't do the voice of Metal Mickey. I mean, I'm just a big fan of robots, Phil.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Beep boop. Welcome to Cheap Show.
Ah no, it's all gone wrong.
No.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Not Cheap Show, but Don't Let's Chat with me, Ben Baker.
And me, Phil Catterall, and also apparently still a robot who we haven't named.
A real robot, an actual real robot in the studio with us, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Don't Let's Chat, where me and Phil basically hide in the past from the current events and just kind of scroll through things that happened on this day and try and make some sense of the world. And if not, we'll just bring on the robot again. So,
Yeah.
you know, October 20th is Heroes Day in Kenya.
Did they just watch season 1, or...?
I mean, you only really need to watch series 1, don't you?
Oh, I agree.
Ironically, whilst eating celebrations, I don't like the rules up, and listening to other David Bowie songs. It's also Revolution Day in Guatemala, which... it sounds like the sort of thing you don't want to take the piss out of, because revolutions are ace, and if we could have one, that would be nice. Come on, Guatemala, help some brothers out.
I mean, I think you might not be onto a winner with that one, Ben, but...
I don't understand. Speaking of not standing, it's World Osteoporosis Day.
Oh, God. That's... Oh, no. No. That's... No. 100% no.
Fair enough. And it's also World Statistics Day.
Ooh.
Which was first celebrated in 2010 and is celebrated every 5 years.
So this is number 3.
Number 3, yeah.
Right, that's a statistic for you.
We move on to history. And at 1813, which is about halfway through The Simpsons, the kingdom... Sorry.
No, I like that. That's funny. That is a funny joke.
In 1813, the Kingdom of Westphalia was abolished.
Ooh.
Now, I don't have any material on this. I just really like saying Westphalia.
Where was Westphalia? Where was it?
Over there by the beef burgers.
I'm Googling it. Oh, it was a bit of Germany.
Yeah, it was a European sort of...
Yeah.
It's an excellent word. Try it yourself.
Westphalia.
Not you, them.
Westphalia.
Yeah.
The
It's a
failure
PH, I think.
of the West. We are now living in Westphalia.
I'm living in Kanye, Westphalia, which
dear.
means I'm very mentally ill.
That's an unrelated matter.
Yeah, that's an unrelated matter. Up to 1822, a bit further into The Simpsons, the first edition of the London Sunday Times was published.
Okay.
I love this. I looked it up, and basically, it started out as the New Observer.
Right.
Because there had already been The Observer had come out and been very popular. So they thought, we'll have some of that. But how do we change it? We like this shmoo idea, but how do we make it?
Right, so but to be clear, the New Observer was not related to the Observer, other than it had the same name. It was different.
Yeah,
company.
no, absolutely not.
Right.
No, just to take advantage of the Observer. It was reborn on this day as the Sunday Times.
Mm-hmm.
Had nothing to do with the Times.
Right.
They just... Right. And in 1823, 1 year later, it was sold to Daniel Whittle Harvey.
Good name.
Brilliant name. And also, not a lot of people with an old Channel 5 game show in their name.
Daniel Whittle Harvey does sound like he was from a 70s rock band to me.
He really does. Ian 100% Jones. And appropriate enough, he was a radical politician. And under this new owner, it notched up several firsts, including hold on to all trousers.
Mm-hmm.
a wood engraving of the coronation of Queen Victoria.
Wow.
The largest illustration ever to appear in a British newspaper.
That's impressive. Was it then sold on to Ken Win Beadle's Money Smith?
Correct.
I'm running out of Channel 5 game shows, mate.
I don't know if there were anymore. Eventually, it was bought by Thomson, who owned the Times and the Sunday Times, and they became actually connected in some way in 1966. And I just love that. It's just like, eventually, just believe enough, and eventually someone will buy you and make you that thing. Maybe I should start calling myself Shagged, Married, Annoyed Weekend Edition. And eventually they might incorporate me.
You see, I think what you're going to run up against is that the rules on things like copyright and trademarks are a lot stronger than they were back then. Because we couldn't just call this new WTF with Mark Maron. That wouldn't be allowed. You're not allowed to to just put new in front of it and claim it's yours.
Now, can we do a version of the Shmoo podcast, etc.?
There isn't a Shmoo podcast, that doesn't it?
Oh.
You've already done the new Shmoo joke at the start of this bit.
I know, but you didn't react to it, so I'll just bash ahead until I get some sort of response, a bit like sex. So we move on.
That's not how that works either.
And I wouldn't know. It's been too long. In 1940, cheese was rationed in the Netherlands.
Right.
Again, I have no follow-up point to that, but some facts are just fun to say.
I'm fond of Edam.
They do feel a very cheese-heavy nation, but...
Cheese-heavy nation is my favourite White Stripes song.
Oh, God. I thought it was the creator of Blake 7 and the Daleks. Anyway...
And involved in Series 1 of MacGyver. Kids, Google Terry Nation and tell your mum and dad about him.
Yeah. Speaking of Peter Pan, in 1954...
Hey, no, bring the robot in if you're going to do that sort of link. That's what he's for.
He's having some oil. You can't just destroy him at random.
He's having some oil.
What else is he going to have?
Energon, that's what robots have. Pay attention.
Get out.
No, never.
1954, Peter Pan opened on Broadway at the Winter Garden Theatre.
Right.
It was only planned to be a 152 performance run. It ended up being absolutely massive and running for years.
Okay.
But it was a busy Broadway season, as it also included The Damn Yankees,
Okay.
The Boyfriend,
Right.
Silk Stockings, and Fanny.
You just wanted to list a series of things that ended with "and Fanny," didn't you?
Don't understand.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Don't understand. 1968, on this day, American Dick Fosbury used his unconventional technique to win the men's high jump gold medal, the 2.24 metre jump at the Mexico City Olympics. And the Fosbury flop becomes the most accepted and most efficient technique, passing over my own technique of the Baker barrel over and die.
I used to use the Catterall, just run at it and make a token effort and then go and sit down.
We did the Fosbury flop at school. It's like when we learned how to do high jump, and I just assumed it was one of these things that had existed forever.
Yeah.
You know? And actually, when we were doing it at school, it would have been like 25 years old as a thing. That sort of thing.
I think we initially did the scissor kick method to get over, and then after the Fosbury flop was for the more advanced students. I never attained those heights, I have to be honest.
No, it's not a good idea for me to be approaching anything backwards at speed. When it comes to things named after people, is that a good one or a bad one? I can't decide.
I think that's a good one because it was successful. It went on and everyone uses
obviously, it. Obviously, say for example, like, Rubik had the cube and then he went on to the snake and the clock and stuff. If his first thing had been the flop, all of his other ones would have said, "It's a flop for Rubik." That sort of thing. So. Maybe Dick Fosbury. I mean, there's only so many unconventional athletics techniques, I suppose you can invent.
I mean, it helps that it was alliterative. It definitely does help.
Yeah. If it had been called the Stevenson's Plomp, maybe. I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Stevenson's Plomp. That is something that you will see an advert for in 1823 in the Sunday Times.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it was a pilot for Pamela Stevenson. Never aired. Dear. But I think it's probably time for a list.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I understand over there in Phil Catterall Corner, you have top 10 things named after people.
Yes, I have, and this is my list. What I have made that I did myself. I didn't steal it from anywhere. So you know.
I mean, I'm glad. It's good. It's good.
Sometimes we borrow lists from websites, and sometimes I make them myself.
I wasn't accusing you of anything.
Well, I'm just telling you because I'm proud of myself.
I know you're not wearing trousers. So
I'm wearing pajamas. I'll have you know.
So am I. I'm actually wearing pajama bottoms. It's
Same.
cold. Well, it's autumn.
It's smashing, isn't it?
Dear. So, number 10.
Number 10, the Venn diagram.
Oh, that's a good one. Ian Venn. No,
Close.
I'm going to do that for everyone. I can't.
You can't do it for every single one. No, this was John Venn, who was from Kingston upon Hull. So one of your countrymen, if you count the other bits of Yorkshire. I don't. So yeah, he invented the Venn diagram so he could show things that were related to other things. That is.
So when's that from, roughly?
That is from. Let me check here. Yeah, so it's about 1881. He wrote a book called Symbolic Logic, where he highlighted what would become known as Venn diagrams.
Okay, so number 9.
Number 9. This one's a bit of an earlier one. The mausoleum, which was invented. By
Lucas of the Mausoleum Club, that website that's used to go. No one invented that. That came from hell.
It was invented by Mausolus.
Oh, that's a great name.
It's a good name. 377 to 353 BC, he was the ruler of Caria, which was, Greece-ish.
I think they made a mistake by not naming Greece too Greece-ish.
I mean, that's the most accurate version of it.
Yeah, Maxwell Caulfield would have benefited from it. Number 8.
The Zamboni, which was invented by Frank Zamboni, which is the best name for a gangster to have ever been.
I'm Frank Zamboni. Give me our damn fruits. Oh, I love a Zamboni. I've been to the ice hockey several times.
Yeah.
I used to go to Sheffield, where Steelers play, and it's just so much fun. Just steadily buzzing back and forth. My kind of speed for a vehicle. I assume everyone knows that. It kind of just keeps the ice sort of fresh.
Flat and fresh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the initial one that he built included a hydraulic cylinder from an A-20 attack plane, a chassis from an oil derrick, a Jeep engine, a wooden bin to catch the shavings, and a series of pulleys.
Nice.
It took him 9 years to develop it.
I can imagine it's not the most, the thing you could just go, oh yeah, there should be a vehicle that goes up and down very slowly and makes the ice better for going on and having a fight.
But now, he got the patent for it, and it's at this point it's genericized, isn't it? It's still trademarked, but everyone calls them Zambonis, even if Zamboni didn't make them. So
okay, I never knew it was a name thing.
No, there's a bunch of these that I didn't realise at all.
Right, number 7.
Number 7, the theremin.
Ooh, yes.
Leon Theremin. He was born Lev Sergeyevich Terman.
Okay.
He sort of emigrated to the US and anglicised his name somewhat. So,
okay.
In the 1930s. He also invented an instrument called the Rhythmicon, which basically the first electronic drum machine. So, 1931. He did that.
That's brilliant. Can you imagine if Depeche Mode had happened in the 50s? Might have been a completely different world. It's just, come on, Dave Garn.
He got quite a lot done. Did Louis Theremin?
It sounds it, yeah. Okay, on to 6.
Number 6, Gatso cameras. You remember the Gatso camera, Ben? Do you remember it?
I don't remember the Gatso camera, should I?
So, the Gatso camera is the standard roadside flash take a picture of you going too fast.
Ah, speed camera, right.
And I always assumed that because it was called the Gatso, it was like an acronym for something, and it's not. It was named for Mouse Gatsonides. He's a Dutch rally driver and inventor. So a rally driver invented the speed camera.
Because it does feel a bit like a chicken inventing an easy fry system.
He invented it to measure his cornering speed in order to improve his times.
Oh, so he actually invented it for speed, not for lack of speed.
Yeah.
Right.
He invented it to find out how fast he was going rather than to catch himself going too fast. So.
Some miserable git cable that going, oh, we'll have that.
He founded. He founded the company in 1958. So yeah.
5.
Number 5, the Bath Oliver. It is a biscuit for cheese. It was invented by William Oliver.
Not William Bath. For a shame.
He lived in Bath. And is rumoured to have invented the Bath bun, though there is no... It's said he invented it, but it proved too fattening for his patients, so he invented the Bath Oliver biscuits.
Number 4!
Number 4, the Brannock device. The Brannock device.
I mean, I don't know what it is, but I love the sound already.
It's good, isn't it?
It sounds like a video that you'd get out in about 1988.
It was a device for measuring your feet for shoes.
Oh, okay.
It's not like those posh ones in Clark's where you put your foot in and it automatically measures them.
Those posh ones in Clark's.
Come on. So that's the Brannock device was invented by Charles F. Brannock, who was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame in 2007, even though he died in 1992. So he developed specially calibrated versions for branches of the military so that they could issue boots and shoes to servicemen, especially during World War II. So
yeah, there you go. Everything was eventually re-infangled for war.
Basically, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it's normally the other way around. It's normally something was invented for war, and then we went, we could use this to not murder people instead.
Yeah, with shoes. Number 3.
Number 3, Bott dots. Bots.
Dots. Working as a team.
Yep. So these are like cat's eyes, but not quite as good.
Okay.
It's a little reflective ball that gets embedded into the road, but it's not like got like glass prisms or anything in it like the cat's eyes have. Yeah. But 25 million of them in California.
Okay.
Yeah, it was invented by Albert Dysart Botts, which is an excellent name. He was a professor of chemistry, and then he was recruited to the California Department of Transportation.
Oh, yeah, chips.
He died before the work on the dots was completed, and they weren't implemented until a few years after his death. So there you go.
But they kept his name because they thought, we can't think of anything better than Bott's dots.
No.
Number 2,
the leotard, which was invented by Jules Lyotard.
I mean, now you say, obviously it's named after someone, but it's not something I ever thought about.
He was a French acrobatic performer and aerialist, which is an excellent word. He developed the art of trapeze, popularised one-piece gym wear that now bears his name, and inspired the 1867 song "The Daring Young Man on the Flying Trapeze," which we all know is a song.
Well, dude, I've heard it.
Fair enough.
Not unlike Radio 2 anytime soon, but I'm aware of it.
Absolute 1850s. Is that the same?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. And number 1, the thing named after a person, what they put out with arms and hands.
Number 1 is Beecham's Pills. Beecham's Pills.
Stephanie, but no, I'm not. I'm not.
It is, of course, the Beecham that founded the company Beecham's. They were a combination of aloe, ginger, and soap. I'm going to read you from an advertisement in the Los Angeles Herald from 1893.
Good here.
They are worth a guinea a box. They, get ready, Ben, dislodge bile, stir up the liver, cure sick headache, female ailments, and remove disease and promote good health. Covered with a tasteless and soluble coating, famous the world over. Now,
Yeah.
While they didn't do most of those things, what they were, Ben, was an effective laxative. So...
Fortunately, the name Bott's Dots had already been taken.
But, the thing with this was, right, they were actually a useful medicine. It's just in this case...
Not for any of the 5,000 reasons they gave.
Exactly. But yeah, it's just aloe, ginger, and soap. And what a surprise. Combining those things together makes you shit yourself.
Yeah. More soap, mums.
Nearly everyone suffers from colds, but there's one person who just can't afford to give in. And for you, Beecham have made Mac Lemon, the hot lemon drink that contains real lemon juice plus medically tested ingredients that help lower temperature, relieve headache, lift depression, clear a stuffy nose, and even do something for your cough. So drink hot Mac Lemon, and don't let a cold get you down. Remember, your family needs you. And Mac Lemon.
Awooga, letter-based device in robot guts.
Oh,
I mean, there's probably a better word for it than that, robot. I'll be honest with you. You received an email.
It certainly sounds like it.
Yeah, so there you go. He's doing a printout for you now. It's good. It'd be better, obviously, when I put the dot matrix printer noises.
I was going to request a dot matrix printer noise. Could you make sure it's a 9-pin dot matrix printer noise, please?
I mean, I wouldn't try and cheapen you with anything else, mate.
Anyway.
So, if people want to send us little recordings of themselves asking us a question they'd like us to answer, we do now have a special little thing that we've signed up for, which is fantastically called...
Speak pipe.
Speak pipe.
Because that's what you do. You speak into your computer pipe.
Yeah. It really is a brilliant name. So if you go to www.speakpipe.com/don'tlet'schat, you can go on there and you can record yourself asking us a question up to 90 seconds. Try and keep them all in one recording if you can. And we can pick some of those, and the best ones will appear in future shows.
Yeah.
But for this week, we've just had an email, and that email is from who, Phil?
That email is from Eric Stockberger, one of our pastry pals.
Part of the History Buffet podcast. Okay. Very well recommended. So what's Eric asking?
Hi guys, I was thrilled to hear a new episode from you. At one point I burst out laughing and scared my cat Ajax.
Sorry Ajax, I'm sorry.
I've had a question for years and maybe you guys can finally answer it. Why have some of the greatest mystery authors come from England? Agatha Christie, Arthur Conan Doyle, Dorothy L. Sayers, Gladys Mitchell, P.D. James, Ellis Peters. And a follow-up would be, why is England such a perfect location for the best murder stories?
It's a good point. We do, living in England, we are murderous 90 to 95% of the time.
Yeah,
obviously.
I think specifically, most of the ones that Eric's called out, they're all more in the sort of amateur sleuth vein.
Yeah,
rather than the actual, the more procedural one. P.D. James is the exception there, but Adam Dalgleish he's still not quite in the same mould as a lot of other detectives. No. In fact, most of our detectives tend to be a bit quirky. We don't head straight for the procedural route.
No. Which is why we make like 4 2-hour shows a year rather than 22 hours.
Yeah, it's all quirky individuals.
It's busybody bastards who get their neb stuck in and generally piss everybody off. That's what we're good at, because that's Britain.
Whereas the US approach is quite often in the vein, when they do quirky, offbeat mystery solvers, it tends to be in what they called on the Flophouse podcast a while ago, a cop not a cop show, where I'm thinking of stuff like Castle and Elementary, where one of them,
Lucifer.
Well, that's cop not a cop. Yeah, there's usually an actual law enforcement official involved to sort of legitimize it in some way.
There's got to be some sort of conclusion where someone goes to jail, but obviously, they couldn't possibly solve that case without eccentric genius come along with a slightly sideways look at crime. And I love that shit. I'm saying that in a mocky way, but I love like Psych and Monk and all that stuff. I love it.
Whereas your Agatha Christie detectives, your Sherlock Holmes, your Lord Peter Wimsey, will eventually just sort of basically hand over a package of evidence to the police and go, there you go, that's all dealt with for you. You've not been involved in this process at all. Crack on. So
I think that answers your question. Hopefully it does. In summary, then, the English just do what they bloody like, as they have done for centuries of history.
and why is England such a perfect location for the best murder stories?
Because it's miserable.
I think it's the difference between the sort of isolation you can get in England versus the isolation you can get in America. In America, you're isolated because there's literally
a lot of notes in
nothing
America
around you, whereas you can be really isolated in the UK, despite the fact that everything is a stone's throw away, just by dint of not having transport or by being on a big country estate somewhere, or that sort of thing. It's the type of isolation that makes it work.
Yeah. And also the thing about everyone being
murderous, yeah, and half of the Agatha Christie stuff is set abroad anyway. So,
oh dear, I remember abroad. It was from the old before times. Thanks for your question, Eric. And I say, if you want to send a question in, please do to don'tlet'schat@gmail.com. As I say, speakpipe.com/don'tlet'schat.
Speak into Ben's pipe.
Pop. Okay, on to 1973 now. Ooh. And Queen Elizabeth II, I didn't see the first one, so I'm assuming I could catch up, opened the Sydney Opera House. And I didn't know, genuinely, I was looking into the Sydney Opera House, because obviously it's one of the most recognisable buildings in the world.
It looks like something out of Dune.
It really does. Old Dune or New Dune?
Both.
Yeah, probably. But I didn't realise it was actually made up of loads of little buildings inside.
I didn't.
I assumed it was just one massive thing. Yeah, there's a concert hall,
right,
which is the home to the Sydney Symphony Orchestra and the Sydney Opera House grand organ. Would you like to guess how many pipes are on that organ?
How many pipes? I think it's just the one pipes. I think it's just the possessed Michael Parkinson.
It's over 10,000 pipes. That's no idle boast.
Wow, that's a haunted opera house you got there.
Yeah, there's a lot of round the garden like a teddy bear.
Thousands of terrified Sarah Greens.
Oh, Mike Smith. There's the Joan Sutherland Theatre, named after one of the biggest opera stars. Mm-hmm. The Drama Theatre, the Playhouse, the Studio, which has 280 permanent seats, some of which can be folded up. Thanks, Wikipedia. Always good information to have.
I love how Wikipedia bounces between incredibly vague and far too specific. It's fantastic.
I'm so annoyed that the artist Gordy played there on July 25th, 2020.
Why?
Gordy, who you'll know, has songs including Aeroplane, Bathroom and Sandwiches.
Sure. Those are good.
But had it not been for them, the last people to play Sydney Opera House would have been the Wiggles. And excellently, Setlist FM, a website that lists set lists from any gigs that people go to, has the full one. So, Rockabye Your Bear, Happy Birthday to You, and, as I like, Social Distancing, a new song.
Oh, why can't I go to Nana's place?
We're staying at home to keep Nana safe.
That's the way to treat Nana.
Yeah.
Or video call or write a letter.
That will make her all feel better. Social distancing.
Staying home to help the world.
Social distancing.
Keeping safe.
Emma's theme, we don't talk about that. Simon Says, Old MacDonald's, The Wheels of the Bus. When I hear the music of the Sydney Opera House, which is lucky they were playing there, really, because that probably don't work when they play on the venues. Fruit salad, brackets, short version, do the propeller, and Emma's Reverence.
Well.
That's what happened. And a year after that, Limmy was born. There is no connection between the two.
Isn't there?
No.
Shame.
Also in 1974 was the first broadcast of Derek on ZDF.
I mean,
not that one.
Right. Okay. Good.
No, Derek. It's a 2RICK.
Right.
And it's a German TV crime series produced in 1974 and 1998.
Wow.
It went on for, starring Horst Tappert, brilliant name,
That's a good name,
as Detective Chief Inspector, Criminal Oberinspector, Stefan Derek.
Right.
Huge thing, it sold all over the world.
Right.
And it was just one of the things like Morse, they just repeated it all the time. Until 2013. When it emerged that the actor who played Derek had been untruthful, discussed his service in the 3rd SS Panzer Division, Totenkopf, in World War II. Or, as they called it, the Death's Head Division.
Ben, can you imagine a world, Ben, where having been a Nazi was a hazard to your career? Can you imagine it?
Just being a racist bigot, or anything like that.
No.
I mean, it's a bad thing.
We're beyond racist bigots at this point. You can be a literal fascist and white supremacist, and that doesn't affect your ability to become, I don't know, president, one of those, something like that.
I don't know. It's just top of your head.
Off the top of my head. Off the top of my head. Oh, I should find things funnier than I do, Ben. I'm sorry.
I mean, the actor wasn't bothered. He died like 5 years earlier.
Oh, okay.
So it didn't really affect his career. But yeah, there's Derek, which was first broadcast on this day in 74. And sticking with the 70s.
Yes.
In 1977, here's a light-hearted one to start bringing proceedings to a close. A plane chartered by the rock band Leonard Skinner crashed in a wooded area in Mississippi, killing 6 people, including the lead singer. And
I want to make it clear. I don't find that plane crash funny. I find it funny that you've gone from this bloke was a Nazi but died before he could be brought to justice into here's something light-hearted. Light aircraft accidents.
History makes the rules. I don't. But can you name 5 Leonard Skinner songs?
No.
No, of course you can.
I can name one, and even then, I probably don't know their version.
Well, you'll know 2, but
Okay.
if you look, they've had 6 chart entries in the UK.
Right.
The first one was the year before the crash, in 76. Sweet Home Alabama.
That's the one I know.
Got to 31.
Yeah.
And then in 1979, the Freebird EP came out.
Oh, okay.
Reaching 43. And then in 1982, getting as far as 21, it's Freebird by Leonard Skinner.
Right, okay.
Over to December 83.
Was it Freebird, Ben?
Leonard Skinner at 87 with, I just checked my notes, Freebird. Now up to 1989, recently on top of the pops, of course.
Was it Freebird?
It was Freebird / Sweet Home Alabama, double A.
Right, no, good. I mean, I don't understand at this point why people, why it's a meme that people demand Freebird at concerts, because you can just get it everywhere. It's just there.
And it last started in 2007, presumably around the time of the film. Sweet Home Alabama.
Right.
No Freebird. I mean, I'm not sure how I could top 6 renditions of Freebird in a Nazi. Which also happens to be my forthcoming autobiography. Already burnt.
I see. I was going to go for the they had a Peel session in 1983, didn't they?
So no time to mention Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome at the top of the box office in 85.
Don't need another
the
hero
best
anyway.
Mad Max. No time to mention 1994. The WhiteHouse.gov was launched to the excitement of
8 people on Usenet, yeah.
Yeah, probably. And no time, sadly, although if you're Cheryl Tweedy, probably quite happily, to mention a certain nightclub assault that occurred in 2003 with a toilet attendant.
We've all forgotten that one, haven't we? We've all forgotten it.
Yeah, we've all forgotten that. She just thought she kept dropping and changing her name. No, the Rozzers wouldn't have a clue.
I mean, if she just thought that changing her name would do it, she wouldn't have had to do all those marriages, would she? She would have just changed her name.
No, that's fair enough. She had to marry a foreign person to prove she wasn't a racist. And that is pretty much... I can't go any further than that.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I think we should probably stop.
Should I? Dear, it has been another jam-packed week of historical thinganings.
Three episodes in.
Not
Three
a word.
episodes in.
Not a word. I know. I don't know if you know it's a pandemic. I don't know if you know there's a war on.
Get the robot in. The robot can get us out of this.
Robot! I think he's hung himself. Sorry.
God.
So, as I say, if you want to speak into our pipe, please do. Speedpipe.com.
We can't do this every week.
And if you want this, imagine wanting this a week early. You can have it. Patreon.com/Don'tLet'sChat. They've buggered about with all the settings, but it's about £3 a month for 4 shows, early stuff, bonus stuff we're going to get up there. And there's 2 series up there, Don't Let's Chat Nights and the Road Show. There's hours of stuff on there, hours and hours of stuff, genuinely, for your couple of quid a month. So if you can do that, it supports us and it helps, all this madness continue. And I said madness as if I was a Radio 1 disc jockey and therefore need taking around the back and shooting with a bolt gun. But before that, all there is to say, until next time, I have been the Kingdom of Westphalia.
And I have been Beecham's Pills.
I bet you can't eat 3, mums.
Don't eat 3. They're made of soap. Don't eat them.
Oh, no. Quick, goodbye.
Bye.
It's everywhere. It's in my eyes. Right, I'm off to wipe.
Yeah.